And we'll begin with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. I see everyone except Mr. Stankoff. So Ivy, would you sit for?
Michael's here.
Oh, Michael's
Was
there.
he? Okay.
Yeah.
All
Hello,
right.
Rich.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Nice
That's
to
all right.
meet you.
Item 2 on the agenda, approval of the October 22 meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the minutes of October 22nd.
Ally is the motion. Is there a second?
I second that, Geneva.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, corrections, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Thank you, Wade. Item number 3, application review, C20-14M, 14B, Shore Road. Request to increase paved width of the driveway and modify culvert crossing with longer pipe. Killingly Engineering Associates, the agent. Comments, questions, discussion?
Is Mr. Tattle here? Warren?
Yes. It's on your top.
Martin, any?
I'm sorry, I was muted. My
Hey,
apologies.
Warren. You want to take us through where we are right now on the site?
Sure, absolutely. So, on Tuesday, I received an email from Maureen, and she informed me at the time that the work that we are in front of you for right now to have permitted was actually completed. Not the driveway. The driveway's boxed out, has not been paved, but we were here for 2 modifications. One of them was to widen the driveway slightly. The second one was to eliminate a previously approved design of head walls and just install a 24-inch RCP, reinforced concrete pipe, with the sloped walls in lieu of the head walls. This resulted in a greater disturbance. It went from about 270 square feet to over 500 square feet for the total disturbance. And the reason why, the 2 reasons for the request for the changes. Number one, the applicant just wanted a wider paved surface for wider vehicles to access the driveway. And then the crossing, after speaking with the contractor, he was saying that installation of the head walls would have resulted in a much greater disturbance than the 270 square feet that we had designed to, because he would have had to have gotten down into the wetland area, brought his machines in there, done some dewatering, excavated for the footings, and it would have been a lot longer time. I was not at the last meeting when this was originally presented. Ian Cole, the soil scientist who has been working on the project, represented Mr. Reagan there that night. I believe this request at that time was received rather favorably. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where the communication broke down, but as I told you, Maureen contacted me on Tuesday and said that this pipe had already been put in. So I went to the site to take a look at it. I can tell you that we have not done an as-built of it yet, but it does appear to have been installed exactly as we had presented it to this commission. We had proposed 40 feet of pipe. There is exactly 40 feet of pipe in there. The riprap inlet and outlet protection has been installed. It's been graded pretty much the way that we've shown it on the plans as well. So at this time, I actually spoke with Ian Cole, the soil scientist who has been overseeing the project for the wetlands replication area. We had a conversation about this today. It's his opinion that although this is unfortunate, at this time of the year being we're approaching mid-November now, and if this were to be modified at this point, if that pipe were to be removed and the head walls installed and so forth, and the earth around the perimeter of the site disturbed, it would be very difficult at this point to stabilize it. I can tell you that from viewing it, that it is stable right now. And as I said, I offer no excuses for what was done. All I can do is report to you that it does appear that it was completed in accordance with the plan that you have been presented with. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have on this.
So I'm gonna have Katrina bring up the plan right now, Norm, just so the commission has that refreshed in their mind.
Sure.
So this was the plan that was submitted at the request of commission and staff on November 4th with a letter. And Katrina's gonna bring that right up. Come right up. Right there. Right there. Go, can you, is that the? Go down to the bottom. Swing down, yeah, swing down, down, that way. And this way.
Actually have to go to sheet 2 would have the information on it.
Come right up.
Okay.
Is that it? I don't know. Are these the modified ones?
And left.
Family. 11 by 17. I think we don't have that.
There we go.
Okay. That was it. I did provide Maureen with an additional sheet that detailed that crossing a little bit more. I think I actually saw it prior to this when you were scrolling through.
It's gone. No, going up, above it. Maybe it's above
Yep.
that. No. Yep. Yep. Scan over to the right.
Yep.
No.
I could share it with you if
I think it's down.
for some reason you don't have it here.
No, I have it.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's Maureen asked me to prepare a plan with a little more detail to it, which I did. So I right in the lower center next to the title block, I show the shaded area is the limits of the proposed impact, which was 570 square feet. I prepared 2 cross sections, one along the length of the pipe and one cross section going across it, cross sections AA and BB, which are a little bit higher up on the drawing, basically showing the manner of construction, what the driveway would look like. Cross section BB actually shows the flagged wetland limits and what we would be constructing within that flagged wetland limits.
Mr. Tebow, Rich Muckle here. Before we get too deep into the discussion, first of all, I'd just like to say that the commission takes very seriously situations where work is performed without the proper authorization. And I understand that, based on your comment earlier, that you really don't have any excuse, if you will, or justification for how that occurred.
Correct.
Does Mr. Cole have any comment to offer with regard to that?
I think, I believe Mr. Cole is on the call tonight. He also was not aware that this work had been done. He went, actually, even the day that Maureen contacted me, he had gone there to check the condition of the wetland mitigation area. And shortly after Maureen contacted me, Mr. Cole contacted me to tell me the same information.
Do we have any idea who authorized the contractor to proceed?
Well, I assume it was the owner or the developer, one or the other. I don't know who authorized them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Quick question, if I might.
Mhm.
What, is that like class 4 RCP or is that just class 3?
That's class 4.
Class 4, all right, because the loads are going to be pretty heavy. There's no minimal cover, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I mean, I agree. I mean, but I think
I
at
believe
this
Maureen-
point,
Maureen has some photographs of the installation. If she doesn't have them to share, I could pull them up to share with the commission.
Yeah, we have them. Yeah.
Mr. Tebow, Rich Buckle here again. If I understood correctly, this resulted in an additional 200 or 300 square feet of wetland disturbance. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Or any new plan for mitigation?
We have not presented that. It was something that Maureen and I discussed. When we had our conversation on Tuesday and yesterday as well, we had a conversation, and one of the things that she mentioned said, well, there may be some additional mitigation required or requested, which we are certainly open to discuss. Absolutely.
Personally, I'd like to see the additional mitigation accomplished somewhere in with regard to the location of the construction. I don't know how other members of the commission feel.
could you have like Ian Cole maybe look at various areas and suggest area that would be beneficial, some mitigation would be beneficial? Was that possible?
Yeah, he would be more qualified than I.
Right, and have him work with Marine and just
To make
find
that call.
an area?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Muckle, may I?
Sir, Michael?
Mr. Tebow, is it?
Yes, sir.
This, as looking at the plans and looking at the pictures, this project looks like it's been done properly. But the problem that I have, and I'm kind of steaming here, is that this was done out of order. The Inland Wetlands Commission really has very little power to enforce a lot of things, except that people come to us and make sure that stuff gets by us so we're notified of it before anything happens. I'm not blaming you, I'm not blaming the soil scientist, but I am mighty pissed that somebody went ahead and disturbed hundreds of square feet of wetland in Waterford without asking for permission first. And I want to know from staff or from anybody else what our recourse is here, because I want at least one head to roll. Somebody made a decision here without going through the proper channels that disturbed wetland. Now, I don't like setting precedents that we let this get away with it. It doesn't look like it's that bad. And yes, I do want to see the mitigation in the same area, Wade. I think that's a good idea. But we have to do something, I think, as a commission to make a statement about this. If we do nothing, then we are forfeiting our statutory power vested in us by the state. And I feel very uncomfortable with saying, oh, someone didn't go through the Inland Wetlands Commission, let's do nothing. So I don't know precisely what the steps forward are here, Mr. Chair and staff and Mr. Tebow, but I am not happy. Not because the construction itself looks bad, but because there's a procedure we have to follow. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Stanko.
I don't disagree with your comments. I mean, I can tell you that I have served on wetlands commissions in the past. I am an authorized agent. I have acted as an authorized agent for several municipalities. So I do understand your position, and I do understand your disappointment with this. As was said earlier, you know, additional mitigation, we're certainly open to that. Whatever other steps that someone might suggest, you know, we're certainly here. I mean, me as the design engineer, you know, I'm here on behalf of the applicant tonight with my tail between my legs, trying to, you know, ask. I'd rather ask permission than forgiveness. I've said that many times, and I don't like being in this position, and I don't like putting the commission in this position either. So.
Can we go with a 2-for-1 mitigation area?
I believe it's close to that now, but I'd have to go
No,
back.
well, I'm talking about the additional area, whatever, 275 square feet. If they gave us like 550 square feet of wetland mitigation, a 2-for-1 trade-off for the additional disturbance. Would they be amenable to that?
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I think you have to be careful, though, in terms of the punitive versus what the regulatory framework allows. The area that was of extra or additional wetland impacts that was proposed, and at the last meeting, we were waiting for, that's if you believe it, we were waiting for a map or something that the commission and staff could review. The area that the pipe was extended into was indeed, I don't know if it shows on that other picture, excavated channel lined with rocks that was part of the prior crossing in this area. So the degree and intensity of the wetland impact, I think, needs to be considered, aside from the egregious disregard of the regulations and the permit process by the applicant, in terms of requiring what kind of mitigation. This was a stone line channel. From last meeting, what my recall was that Mr. Ian Cole had indicated that the mitigation area that was installed and approved by the commission already was larger than the sum of the wetland area. Just they rounded it up. I think what would be helpful is to, when you do an as-built for the crossing, to do an as-built for the mitigation area, and the commission will have better information on what to, if and how much more area was already created. I don't know if I have a picture, if you can see it. Okay, go to that one that shows the, just in the
That
back.
seems reasonable.
Let me finish. In the back of one of these pictures there, see the pond that's there, and they're already seeded and lined the slopes with the outlet control. So if that pond, let's say, is 3,100 square feet, I think they've already mitigated the additional 200 to 300, but I don't know.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Dave Lurch here.
Mr. Lurch?
Yeah, so unless it's already done, I'm sure it's certainly appropriate to issue a violation since work was done in the wetland that wasn't approved. And then, as Maureen said, that the intent, well, per statute, our actions are not punitive, but rather remedial. And so what remedy do we have to what's already been done that wasn't approved? And I guess what we've been talking about is that we'd like to see what mitigations that the applicant is proposing, and then go from there. But I'm not really at the point to say that, you know, a certain additional remediation must be done without some type of analysis of, you know, what benefit that's going to cause. So certainly a report of violation right now is appropriate. And then with the expectation that they're not going to get a permit until such time as we get a chance to see the as-built, and then what mitigation is offered for this encroachment on additional wetlands. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this Tally, ask Maureen a question.
Mr. Medelis?
Maureen, do we have a system of fines? In addition to mitigation?
I'll have to check with the town's attorney on that. I don't believe the town fines, we fine through the court process. But I will get you an answer for that.
Okay, thank you. I've been looking through the regulation just now, and I don't see any place where it says.
No. Yeah, I don't believe it's in our ordinance, but it may be.
I think we had that discussion several years ago, and the commission decided that there was, unless it went through the courts, that was, the only punitive measures that could be taken. As far as fines or civil penalties and that sort of thing.
So, another question, are they using the road presently?
No,
Okay, so can we make a stipulation that they can't use the road until a mitigation plan is presented? Or an analysis, like Wade said?
is that for me?
So, if I may, so is the reason, Tolly, that you feel that they shouldn't use the road because you're concerned about the possible impact of wetlands, which I think
Yeah,
is appropriate?
possible impact to wetlands, and they need to have some pain.
No, yeah. Well, like I say, we can't act in a punitive manner. We've got, but we can certainly look out after, and as far as I know, and I could be completely off base here, but if we feel that there is a detriment to or impact to what wetlands are there because of what's been done, and we haven't had a chance to evaluate it, then I think we have certainly.
Well, I think to Wade's point, we really need an analysis.
Yeah. Well,
That's why, when
Yeah,
I'm
before-
suggesting a 2-for-1, I'm not looking at it as punitive. I'm saying if the applicant's willing to offer that and we say, okay, I'm not looking at it as a punitive measure. I'm just saying if the applicant would be willing to do it, it would go a long ways to establishing a better relationship.
I'm going to speak on behalf of the applicant and say that I don't believe that would be a problem to do that. As we're discussing this, one of the issues that comes to mind for me is that as the weather starts changing right now, they've got the driveway base installed, and the hope is to get it paved before winter and before the pavement plant's closed. So we are approaching that time of the year when it might be difficult to do that. So if the commission would see fit to allow them to at least get that paving done, I do believe that if this were left in this condition with just the binder, with just the compacted gravel for the winter, I think the potential for any kind of impact to the wetlands is much greater than if we have a nice stable hard surface here.
I have to agree with that. And I mean, they may, if they pave now, they might have time to restore their shoulders and get some seeds to get going too, to
Right.
stabilize everything. So, because I'm thinking the plants are probably going to close the first week in December, unless we get a really cold snap.
Yeah, if we get, and they can go either way. I mean, typically it's the first week of December, but I've seen them close earlier when we've had really cold
Right.
snaps in November, and I've seen them go a couple of weeks later as well. So,
Yep.
you know, it's New England, so who knows?
And I concur. I think we should pave it and get it stabilized. I mean, the road itself, the driveways in the position it was originally proposed in, and, you know, from that standpoint, I think pave it and stabilize it. Because if we miss the paving season, this could be a real headache as far as siltation and that from the processed aggregate washing into the wetlands, I think. That's my personal opinion.
Right. In this area that you're looking at, and you know, in the other area where we are, you know, close to the wetlands, and we impacted a small amount of wetlands about the midpoint of the driveway as well. So we've got two areas that we'd be concerned about.
Well,
Was there any sort of invasive species management plan proposed?
I believe there is. I
Okay.
believe that was part of the mitigation with the original approval. Yes.
Okay.
Rich Muckle here. As Mr. Stankoff noted earlier, based on the photographs, it appears that everything was constructed in a satisfactory manner. And also, as we've discussed as our conversation goes on, the time frame that we're in is kind of critical. So I would not want to see us hold up the project, especially with the onset of colder and the weather coming in. I think that at least a 1-for-1 or a 2-for-1 mitigation for the wetlands disturbance is not unreasonable. I would like to have I'd like to hear something from the owner as we proceed with the permit process as to how this occurred. I think that's one of the things that's deepest of concern. So I'm not sure. Maureen, I'd defer to you. Is there a way that we can proceed on a parallel path?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, does the commission want staff to issue a notice of violation to run concurrent with this application to modify? Yes?
I think it's
I think-
appropriate.
I think that would be appropriate for this case.
I think as it stands,
I would agree.
Mr. Muckle, may I? I think as it stands, the foremost issue before us is that in order to protect wetland from potential winter storm, we have to authorize more work in a wetland on top of a disturbance, which is a violation, which is just a fascinating circumstance to find ourselves in. I think Mr. Tebow's comments about the fact that this will be best stabilized and secure if the commission permits the paving of the driveway is accurate. However, that does not stop the fact that this is a violation and needs to be dealt with as such. And I guess the question before the commission is there any way for us to issue a limited allowance of work to say pave the driveway and then stop doing activity in the wetland until the violation can be sorted out? Because I think that's the most prudent and pragmatic way to go about this. I just don't know precisely the procedure to do that.
That would be a notice of violation. I'll run that as well. The notice of violation will require mitigation, will require a letter of explanation from the owner as to what occurred and how and when, and a as-built of the work that was done for the crossing, as well as the existing extent of the mitigation area for discussion, and a discussion by the licensed wetland scientist as to the degree and extent of the impact and what would be proposed for mitigation of the additional impact. Those are the 4 things I heard.
That sounds satisfactory to me if it sounds satisfactory to the rest of the commission.
I would agree with that.
I also agree.
I concur.
Concur. One question, Maureen. Have you checked to make sure that they put silk fences all around where they're working?
They're using, we're using, wood chip berms.
Okay,
Actually, you can see them in the foreground.
okay. And you believe that's sufficient?
Yeah, right now the road is boxed out, so it's actually 8 to 10 inches below grade.
Okay,
So there's no fill, piles of fill or anything around. But I guess the issue of notice of the violation is for unauthorized activity. What do you want to do with this request for permit modification in front of you right now, requesting authorization for such activity? Do you want me to draft some kind of finding with the same conditions are requiring under the NOV?
Well, it seems to me that, and maybe perhaps under the NOV, and certainly unconventional, but one of the conditions would be that they stabilize the current drive with the pavement, you know, so that we don't have problems throughout the winter.
Mhm.
So that would, as crazy as that sounds, I think that almost, and that's just my recommendation, that the violations probably would show that as a condition that they complete this capping, if you will, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
That,
So you want to table this modification request right now, or I guess I'm trying to figure out how to get.
I think that the best thing to do here is table this application with the notice that we will send out the violation. Does that require a vote, Maureen?
Oh, it's a violation.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I wanted to make sure. So we table this application if and only if we can make sure that rolled into the wording of the violation is the permission, I guess, to cap this driveway to stabilize the slope, because the stabilization of the slope is the big thing that's holding us up here. If that's possible, we can, I would be for that. If that requires a limited permit,
Well, it could be a condition of corrective action, but is that the 15-foot wide driveway that they're requesting in the modification, or the 12-foot wide driveway that's currently approved? See how we get a little tangled up there?
well, that's right. There were two parts to this.
Yeah, I think let them pave the proposed width. Because I mean, there's no way they can come back and, well, they could add it later, but it's gonna break apart and everything.
yeah, and make it worse condition.
And the extension of the pavement from 12 foot with 2-foot shoulders to 15 foot did not involve any additional wetland impact. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Okay.
yes, I think that that is a finding would be fine.
Yeah, what, if I may, whatever impact that had been approved previously by this commission for the installation of the driveway, that impact has already been done. Further back of the driveway, the sub base for the driveway and the base course of the compaction, those particular areas that were impacted are impacted, and by putting a paving course over the top of that, it doesn't further impact any wetlands.
That's reasonable.
Any other comments or questions, Mr. Tebow or from Ian, before we table this?
You're in a tough spot. I don't appreciate, I mean, I do what you do, and when you go to in front of a commission, it's not a pleasant time.
It's not the first time, and it won't be my last, I'm
No,
sure.
no, but you know, You'll have to talk to Mr. Hall and let him know.
Will do. Well, I think Mr. Ho was just following direction. I don't believe he was the person who
No, I don't think so either.
who authorized this. So
But I will say I've never seen him do anything but a knock-up job on any kind of project.
it's done very well. I will say that
Yeah.
the work out there is very good.
Meticulous. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, is a motion in order to formally table this for the evening?
You don't need a motion, Michael, we're good.
Very well.
We can, if everyone else agrees. Does
Okay.
everyone?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
We lost the chair.
Halfway.
Going back to his other computer. I couldn't see.
I don't think we lost Richard. Oh, there he is.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks, Mr. Tebow.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Muskell.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, very well, with great deal of reverberation.
You must be at the train station.
Track 2.
Okay, let's,
Yes,
moving on.
is,
New applications, item number 4, C 20-17, 193 Pember Road, Pond and Stream Maintenance, Mara's Woods LLC, applicant David E. Engel, owner.
Okay, this is an application that came in for work conducted after the fact out in the old Pember Road. The owner is here to discuss with you what he did. He has photographs. He's filled out an application form, paid for an application to conduct and continue to conduct as needed maintenance of the outlet of this pond out in Pember Road. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, David, if you're there. Or is he on mute?
I just asked him to unmute.
Just unmute, Dave.
There he goes.
You hear me?
Yep.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Hi there.
The situation, I have a pond that's out. I own 193 Pember Road, and it's out there. It's an abandoned road off of Butlertown Road. If you're not familiar with it. And out there, I have 109 acres of woods. And it used to be Alex King's estate, basically. He had a farm out there. And since Mr. King passed away, I've been doing like an environmental cleanup on the property. I've got almost 30,000 just in tires and trash and garbage in there. But this last time I was out, I noticed that the pond, since our drought, was down really low. And a lot of these trees that were stuck in the muck along the edge of the pond were visible now. So what I did is I went in there with an electric winch and I started trying to pull them out. I couldn't get them all to come out of the mud because they were sucked in the mud so deep. So I used a small little Kubota to pull them out the rest of the way. And when I did that, I shook the mud off them and cleaned it up and got the rest of that debris out and basically just cleaned the pond. And I wanted to be able to continue to do maintenance now just on the original dam area was never disturbed. The river was never disturbed. The brook coming off the pond's never been disturbed. I just like to continue to clean the debris that floats towards the dam that stops the water flow. That's why I want to keep an active hand in just keeping the pond clean. That's basically what I'm requesting.
These are just photos that came with the application. That's the wall on the outside of the pond. That's looking towards the outlet. So the outlet is just the stone outlet weir. This was while the water was still low, and the seeds have already, the area was seeded and it's already sprouting back up.
So, Mr. Engel, what you're doing, what I see is trying to maintain the pond as it is right now. You aren't trying to enlarge the pond or make it deeper, are you?
No. No, sir. I didn't do any dredging or anything else of that nature. All I did was I removed a bunch of fallen trees. There was an oak tree, there was a large birch tree, there was a couple of tractor tires, there was some car parts. There used to be a car parked up on that bank. And
Yeah.
basically I just pulled the junk out of the pond because it's the first time I've ever been able to actually see this stuff. It was low enough to see it. Now,
Yeah.
this picture that I'm showing you now the water table is up to its natural area and it's flowing beautifully, and it's the stream is running fine. Everything is going like it should. It's just that there's continually stuff that flows down the pond, like branches, tree branches, pine tree needles, all that kind of stuff. And I was just wondering if I could just continue to keep that area clean just by raking that stuff out at the dam area, but just to try to keep it flowing correctly.
Mr. Engel, will you be using any machinery beyond hand tools for this maintenance?
No, sir. No, right now it's just hand rakes and metal rakes. That's it. And I'm going to bag this stuff up when I pull it out. I'm not going to let it run down the stream. You know, I pulled the garbage out. Maureen was there. I had a brush pile of all the sunken logs and trees that were in there. I had them still on site in the premises. There's 2 or 3 big stumps that were there blocking all that. It's just been years and years and years and years of neglect, basically, because, you know, when I started cleaning up the property, the cleaning the pond wasn't really what I focused on. I focused on removing the tires and the rest of the trash that was on site. And when the pond was low this time around, I said, you know what? It's my opportunity to get all that debris out of the pond, you know? Just want to keep it natural. I like it, the natural beauty of the pond. I don't want anything else beyond what's naturally occurring at that pond.
I'm okay with this.
It's fine to me.
So, I don't have my rule. The site is that we should make a determination of whether or not it's maintenance. And, it's not a permit. It would be a right of the property owner to maintain their property.
Well, I think, Mr. Larish, from the description of what's been done, I think it's a little more than maintenance. It's, major removal of trees, etc. So I'm not sure that I would agree with you. Mr. Engel, how large is this pond?
It's kind of hard to define. You can see the size of the actual pond, but beyond that is just all wetlands and trees and stumps. So if you went the whole size, I think I wrote down it's probably maybe 4 acres of wetlands that are out there because it's fed by a stream. That whole back area is always, you can't walk there or anything. It's always swampy and muddy. And this front area of the pond, the previous owner of the property, he actually used the pond to for his horses and his cows and his pigs. They used to, and agriculture basically. They used to drink from the pond, not the actual pond itself, but the stream runoff. So, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just basically cleaning up the property for my family's enjoyment to go out there and kind of hike around and look at the woods and, observe nature.
One question, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Moving forward, you would just be using hand tools to keep it clean? Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean,
I
if
have a
that's the
black lab.
case, I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, if I may, staff will speak. I talked to this with Mr. Engel, that property owner, and he felt more comfortable having a permit identified what he could do and the methods that he could do, rather than just having it be a maintenance issue. That way he knows that he's covered and it runs with his land and his children.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I
In
think
that
that's a
case,
smart thing to do.
in that case, would it be fitting for the commission to make a finding that this is a regulated activity in wetland, and to issue a permit for ongoing maintenance within this approximately 4 acres of wetlands using hand tools? Would that be appropriate, commissioners?
And this permit is good for 5 years?
For the extension for another 5.
Okay. So we'll see. Oh, gotcha.
And maybe perhaps something to the effect that if you want to use a machine, that you coordinate with Marine before you do anything. If you need, get to that point, you know, you get more logs and that moving down and you need to remove them, coordinate with Marine before any machinery is used.
Yes, sir.
Just a thought, you know.
Yeah, I agree with Wade because that would be a strong possibility.
Yeah,
It looks
and,
like-
and it's clear what needs to be done at that point, you know, for you, Mr. Engel.
Yes, sir. I'm willing to, if, I don't feel I'll ever have to do that again, to be honest with you, because the large trees that are around the perimeter are pretty healthy trees now. So I don't think they're gonna fall down or anything, but if they do, I'd be more than happy to get Maureen and bring her out there.
Yep. I'm okay with that then.
So is that a motion?
Wade, you make that
Yes, it's a
motion?
motion.
Michael, that was a motion? Okay.
Yes, I will make the motion that this is a regulated activity and that we issue a permit for the maintenance of this property, this 4-ish acres of wetland that Mr. Engel indicated, with hand tools, with the stipulation that any use of anything beyond hand tools come back to Maureen for approval.
Is there a second?
Second,
That-
Motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank
Thank you, Commissioner.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Engel.
you. Thank you.
All right, have a great evening, everybody. Take care.
As well.
You too.
Thank you, sir.
Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, C0804, extension 5 Betty Street, permit extension. Karen Brochu, trustee, owner, and applicant. Comments, questions?
Staff can take you through, this is, this property's for sale. I believe the sale's pending and the permit, expired. The original 5 years expired in, 2013. But I attached the 2011 legislative action, so the permit was still good in 2009. Therefore, automatically, the permit was extended to 9 years, which would have brought it to 2017. And they're allowed a 5-year extension from that, which would bring them to 2022. So they've paid the fee for the extension, cited regulations. And it's the same plan with the same stamp that was approved by the commission. So it's pretty much a perfunctory finding by the commission to extend it for the full 14 years from the date of issuance.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion or comment? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank you.
That's all right. Oh, that's all I have. You can bring up that, sir. So
Item number 5 on the agenda, violations. Maureen, anything?
Not anything more than what we talked about tonight.
Thank you. Item number 6, other business. Hearing none. Item number 7, correspondence. Hearing none. Item number 8, payment of the bills.
I got a bill today from the office coordinator for, from the day for publications for the last 2 publications we have. They total $157.50. It was 2 ads, each for $78.75.
What's the total again, Katrina?
$157.50.
Motion for the payment of the bills.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion?
pay the bills.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
So made.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Maureen, I don't have the calendar in front of me. When is our next meeting?
14 days, 23? Looking right now. Katrina's got
The 19th.
19.
19th.
That's fine. That's not Thanksgiving.
All right. Thanks very much. We'll see you on the 19th.
okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Aye.
Seven 22.